Welcome to Back of the Fridge, the podcast that explores food news you could use, culinary trends, and at times, I'm going to peel back some of the layers of stories hiding behind your breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. I'm your host, the journalist who cooks. In this episode of Back of the Fridge, I'm going to talk about reusable water bottles, give you an update on eggs, my beef with Yankee Stadium's Jamaican Patty Edition, Girl Scout cookie collaboration, sharing your harvest, the love-hate relationship with food in Severance, the return of beef tallow, and cacao trees growing in Los Angeles. But before we get started, I like to first pay homage to George Foreman. The legendary heavyweight boxing champion and beloved entrepreneur died. He was 76. For some, Foreman will forever be known as the two-time world heavyweight champion whose punches made history in the boxing ring. For others, he's the face of the George Foreman Grill, which brought healthier cooking into millions of homes around the world. It was an indoor grill promising to knock out the fat. From Olympics to infomercials, Foreman's golden legacy stretched far beyond sports. He was larger than life, in and out of the ring, and the kitchen. He'll be remembered for his strength, his smile, and the impact he made on his boxing fans and home chefs. Now let's turn to one of the most used items in your kitchen, and possibly your life, your reusable water bottle. We all know that reusable bottles are great for reducing waste and for staying hydrated. According to a BBC feature, reusable water bottles, no matter what the brand, are also perfect for growing bacteria. Carl Benke, a food safety expert at Purdue, did a small experiment with some paper towels and reusable water bottles that he thought was clean. Here's a spoiler, they were not clean. Turns out many people rarely wash their bottles, and those who do might not be cleaning them properly. Here's what Carl and his crew are saying. Every sip you take deposits bacteria from your mouth into the bottle. If you're not washing it daily, those bacteria can multiply by the millions in just 24 hours. Even if your bottle is filled with clean water, bacteria from your hands and the environment still make their way inside. Think of juice, protein shakes, and coffee. They're basically a buffet for bacteria. So unless it's plain water, clean that bottle right away. So how should you clean it? Use hot water, at least 140 degrees Fahrenheit, along with dish soap. Let it soak for about 10 minutes, scrub it with a bottle brush, especially the spout and nozzle, and air dry it completely. If you have a dishwasher-safe water bottle and your dishwasher has a sanitizing cycle, that's even better. Make sure you press that button. And please don't wait until it starts to smell funky, because by then it's already too late. The germs are already festering. I mean, you could smell them. The BBC feature reminded me of the time when I advised my son to dismantle his reusable water bottle because he was getting these stomach aches all the time. And I was like, you know what? You need to break it apart and see what's going on in the inside. And guess what he found in the flip spout and underneath the plastic ring lining of the cover? Yep, you guessed it, mold. Guess who now keeps their water bottle clean? That's right. The article also shares that most hygienic water bottles are the ones that are easiest to clean. That means there's no hidden crevices or tiny straws that are impossible to scrub. Simple equals sanitary. Moral of the story, wash your bottle like you'd wash a plate or a coffee mug. Daily and thoroughly. Your gut and your immune system will thank you. Well, some people don't wash their coffee mug, specifically those who like their coffee black, but that is another episode. I'll save it. Okay, moving right along to eggs. I love talking about eggs, even though they are telling us to stop complaining about it. The wholesale price of eggs is finally going down. According to a recent USDA report shared by NPR, the average cost of a dozen large white eggs dropped to $4.15. That's nearly half of what it was just a few weeks ago. So what's the reason for the price dip? No major bird flu outbreaks so far this March, which has helped stabilize egg supplies. And that's a win for both producers and consumers. But, and it's a big but, don't expect to see that lower price tag at your local grocery store just yet. I know I haven't. Agricultural economists explain there's often a lag between wholesale and retail pricing because you see, the eggs in stores that you see right now, they were purchased weeks ago at a higher price, and retailers are cautious about lowering prices too soon, especially with bird flu still lingering as a potential threat. Economists also caution against panic buying eggs, especially with Easter and Passover approaching. Some grocers are staying ahead of the coop on this one, though, because they are limiting how many carton of eggs you can buy at one time. In my local grocery store, that's 1 carton per day. Now, increased demand is expected, but not enough to push prices sky high again, unless bird flu makes a comeback. So the bottom line, egg prices are trending down. And if the bird flu stays away, we should see lower prices soon. How soon? Give or take within the next couple of weeks. Now, while we wait for egg prices to finally go down, let's talk about America's favorite pastime. It's back. It's in full swing. That's right. We're talking about baseball. And as usual, the food lineup is getting a refresh. Now, it's normal for restaurants to come and go in and out of stadiums, right? And this season, Yankee Stadium is bringing some new flavors to the stands. Now, there's a new addition that sparked my attention. Caribbean Food Delights is featuring a stuffed Jamaican beef patty, which includes cilantro lime slaw and jerk barbecue aioli. Why step so far outside the box? I know my Jamaican ancestors are not happy about this one. And no one asked me, but the Yankee Stadium needs to work on its culinary home run because a Jamaican beef patty stuffed with what? Now, here's a combination that is strategically outside of the box. Girl Scout cookies and Pop-Tarts. That sounds so sweet, right? Okay, just when you thought Girl Scout cookie season was over, those diva entrepreneurs figured out a way to stick around and make more money a little bit longer by teaming up with Pop-Tarts. Yes, you heard that right. Girl Scouts is partnering with Pop-Tarts. Now, the collab will launch 2 new Girl Scout cookie-inspired Pop-Tart flavors for the 2025 season. The flavors will feature Thin Mints and Samoas. So, set your Google alerts to learn when these cookies are going to hit the store shelves, because word on the street is they will not stick around for too long. Obviously, because they're only available for a limited time. Moving right along. Raise your hand if you are a home gardener who grows fruits, vegetables, and herbs. Perfect. This story is for you. In a time of high grocery prices and cuts to federal food aid, columnist Jill Severin, based in Olympia, Washington, offers a gentle and powerful reminder. Grow food and give it away. Whether it's planting a few extra rows of veggies, sharing backyard garden space, picking fruit from a neighbor's tree with permission, of course, or donating to local food banks, every act of generosity counts. Jill says green beans are ideal for sharing because they grow abundantly and cook up beautifully. Giving them away? That fills more than just bellies. It fills the spirit. You could read Jill's full column on thejoltnews.com. The link is in the show notes. If you ever watch Severance on Apple TV Plus, you already know things feel off. And according to Tejal Rowe, the food critic at large for the New York Times, that unsettling vibe extends to the food. Big time. From sad melon bars to marshmallows with the company's founder's face on them, food at Lumen isn't about nourishment. It's about control. For employees trapped on the severed floor, food is treated like a reward for following rules, even if it's just bland snacks like dried blueberries or stringy cantaloupe. Hard-boiled eggs are sliced with creepy precision, and meals come in sealed pods labeled with things like candied carrots or flaky dinner rolls, even though the food looks nothing like what it says on the package. Tejal writes that these meals are meant to distract, not delight. It's a subtle way to suppress emotions, rebellion, even grief. Bottom line, even the snacks in Severance are a little scary. And honestly, that's the point. Or is it? I don't know. What I do know is Season 2's finale built up my appetite for more. And yes, my alerts are set for Severance Season 3's release date. All right, sticking to the New York Times, they always have some really great articles on food. I found a feature that talks about beef tallow. Yeah, that same beef tallow that was ditched by fast food chains in the 1990s. Guess what? The New York Times says it's making a comeback. Some restaurant owners are swapping out seed oils for this old-school animal fat, claiming it's more natural and better for your health. Now, a story wouldn't be a story without an opposing argument, because nutrition experts say tallow is high in saturated fat, which can raise cholesterol and increase the risk of heart disease. The truth? Fried food is still fried food, no matter the oil. So, is beef tallow better, health-wise? what fat is. With just about any and everything, consume what you like within moderation. Now, I'm surprised that legacy media is just now covering the comeback of beef tallow, because TikTokers have been teaching people how to make tallow for at least like the last 3 years.
It's time to check our tallow, and I had to give myself grace. But first, peep the clarity of this oil. It's tallow goals. And I'm so glad because I'm a whole human being and forgot to turn off the crock pot. And that means instead of only rendering for 8 to 12 hours, I left it on for almost 24 hours. Yeah, these fat solids are cooked. Now, Miranda, you might ask, what does that mean?
The voice you just heard was Miranda Rosenberg, aka the Homestead Donegal. Miranda is based in Ireland, where she grows her own food on a small homestead. Miranda is teaching her 620,000 plus followers how to properly render tallow and repurpose it for things like soap. And I'm not going to lie, I use beef, pork, and lamb tallow in my cooking, and at times I use it to moisturize the rough spots on my feet. Does it work? My dry patches on my heels are smooth, so I guess it does. Okay, that's enough tallow talk. Does the name Seamus Blackley sound familiar to you? Well, if you are a gamer, you know his name. And if you're not, he's known as the father of the Xbox. And now he's got a new persona, Willy Wonka, the Los Angeles version. Now allow me to explain. Seamus is not just making chocolate, he's growing cacao trees in a tech lab in San Gabriel to produce chocolate that's uniquely LA, microbes and all. Now, with the help of his partner, Asher Sefemi, Seamus is hand-pollinating cacao flowers, controlling climate conditions, and crafting chocolate bars that taste nothing like what you find on store shelves. So no additives, no cocoa butter, just pure, bold, slightly wild chocolate. It started as a curiosity project. Now it's a full-blown passion with potential to shake up the chocolate world. Even Chef Jose Andres wants in. I've included the link to the article in the show notes. Okay, that's a wrap for this episode of Back of the Fridge. I know it was a lot. There was a lot back there, but I just saw so many great food stories, and I said, you know what? I'm pretty sure the audience is going to love this. By the way, I'm still workshopping a new name for this podcast, so if you have any suggestions, please drop them in the comments. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, hit the subscribe button. There's also more visual content and quick bites on Substack via The Journalist Who Cooks. So stay curious, keep cooking, and I hope you'll tune in again next week for another serving of Back of the Fridge.